Ads not read by me, Mary Payne, don't necessarily reflect the views of Pink Shade. If you'd like to listen to ad-free, you're going to go on over to Supercast or Patreon, and you can find the links to Pink Shade Prime at pinkshadepodcast.com. Hey y'all, welcome to Pink Shade. It's Tuesday, and that means it's 90 day before the 90 days. This episode is season 6, episode 7, Fatal Attraction. I've got Kimberly here from A Date with Dateline, and Kimberly, Fatal Attraction is one of my favorite movies of all time. How about you?
I'm not going to be ignored, Mary Payne.
Not going to be ignored, Dan. I've probably sent you that GIF before. I've probably sent it to you before. If somebody doesn't write me back in a timely manner, that's what I send them.
I love it. I have say it to Katie all the time on the podcast, and she never knew what it was from because she hasn't seen Fatal Attraction. So
What?
I just throw it in anytime there's an episode with some sort of fatal attraction. I throw it in there.
And does she get it now? Have you?
Yeah, she gets it, but now she rolls her eyes. She's like, "That's low hanging fruit. I've done this before." Yeah, I can only make a joke like once, and then it's over. I can never make it again.
I was texting with Katie yesterday because she's going to come on and cover 90 Day UK with me this week. That's going to come out on Wednesday, guys, over on $10 Pink Shade Prime. And we were texting about it, and I said, we need your headshot because Ingrid sends out the newsletter, the pink sheet. So we need your headshot to put on it. We already have Kimberly. She goes, do you need Kimberly and I together? I said, no, I just need your headshot. So then she's like, I don't have one with pink hair. I was like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We don't need to overthink it.
Hers has with white hair. She looks beautiful. Mine is super
beautiful
old.
No matter what.
Yeah.
Yeah, yours is super cute, though.
It's super cute, but it's like 15 years old. Let's just call it like it is. That's from when I worked in show business. My boss paid for me to get headshots. Yeah.
It's a really cute headshot, yours is. And I think you look totally the same. Your hair's just shorter.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
My headshot's kind of new. I had my daughter take some pictures.
Oh yeah, she did a good job.
Yeah, she did. Yeah, I've got that one. I've got that one good picture.
That's all it takes.
That's all it takes. I could probably use one more good picture, but it's not going to happen anytime soon. Not with this sinus infection and Invisalign I got going.
Oh gosh, you have a constellation of ailments right now.
I sure do. In addition to my nerve ablation in my back, I'm not doing that great.
Thing.
Yeah, I'm gonna be fine. I feel better than I did, so there's that.
Well, you look great.
Oh, thanks. I'm upright. I had a conference call a little bit ago, so I had to put on some mascara. So
it's a wonder of difference.
So you're lucky. And I got a little lip gloss on. So today I'm getting real crazy. Oh my goodness. Well, let's get into it because this is going to be a long episode. For some reason, you were saying you have a lot of notes. My notes are pretty long too.
My notes are so long, and I went through and tried to shorten them, but I felt like every line was important. Yes. I'm at that part of the season where everything is important.
Everything's important. I just did an episode over on our Pink Shade Prime with Larison Campbell of the podcast Devil in the Ditch, and we covered Burden of Proof, that HBO Max documentary that you would, it was very good, very well done, of course. It's an HBO documentary about Stephen Pandos, who was trying to solve the mystery of his sister who went missing in 1987. And it starts off, and he tells you right away that he's always assumed that his dad had something to do with it and the mom covered it up. And it's really interesting. It's 4 parts where it goes. And so I did the episode with Larison, and so I watched it twice. I mean, that's, 8 hours of viewing there. And I did write 20 pages of notes. And same thing.
Right. Because my notes for Dateline are like up to 10 pages.
Yeah. And I'm like, I got to cull this down. And then I was like, I culled it down to like 19 and a half. I was like, everything's important.
Yeah. I feel that. My gosh. That's the struggle of me every Saturday, trying to get my notes shorter. And then I can't.
Yeah, because Dateline's a 2-hour show. Yeah.
I promised myself I'm going to do a very bare bones recap. Bare bones, Kimberly. Don't write down everything. And then I write down everything.
I this weekend watched a 48 Hours. It was on Saturday night, and it was a very interesting case that I'm sure they probably covered on Dateline. It was about this woman who's they had owned rehabs, she and her husband, and then they sold them for like $22 million. It was in the South. She lived in Louisiana, and they had like a lake house in Mississippi or whatever. And they'd sold these rehabs, and then they were getting a divorce, and then the husband went back on the sauce or the pills or whatever he was on,
Oh.
and was literally first of all had her kidnapped, and then threatened to kill her. And then he started doing things like sending her videos of himself, like being like bandaged up and bloodied, like somebody's trying to kidnap
Yes.
him. Yeah,
Yeah,
he
I know. I actually think I know this one.
was
Yeah.
crazy to the Z.
Yeah.
Cray.
Yeah.
And that was really interesting. I'm always excited when I come across a true crime story I never heard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I was thinking, how are they going to wrap this up in an hour? Like, this is wild.
48 Hours does everything in an hour. I don't know how. I don't know how.
I would have liked it better if it was Dateline style, 2 hours.
Well, see, if as a viewer, 2 hours is better. As a recapper, you really love the 1 hours.
Yeah, that's what I'm dealing with now. So we've got Before the 90 Days, which you and I are covering, and then we've now got a brand new, for some reason, 90 Day the Other Way, which this past episode was 2 hours, in addition to 90 Day UK, which is going to be 1 hour, but it's a lot of hours on the 90 Day verse.
Yeah.
A lot of hours.
Yeah.
So let's just hop into it here. We've got Fatal Attraction. Start with Statler and Irving. So far, not a fatal attraction. So far, other than the pooping discussion, seems yeah. All right. So Statler lands in England, and Dempsey has missed her flight. She's coming from Thailand to England, and she can't meet her at the airport. Obviously, she's missed her flight. So Statler's upset because she says, normally they talk 24/7, but in the last week or so, they haven't, because Dempsey was in Thailand, which is not close to England. I mean, I'm not a geographical whiz, but I don't think they're close together. And she's starting to feel that angst of like, we're not talking all the time, which is a bad sign, I think. And she says she has no plan B. All her eggs are in this Dempsey basket. And this meeting with Statler says this meeting with Dempsey is going to decide the rest of her life.
That's a lot of pressure to put on something.
You're 33. That's a little dramatic, don't you think?
No wonder you have diarrhea.
Yeah. So she's going to a hotel. She's booked for them this hotel called the Cow Hollow Hotel, which I wish I could say that in a British accent. Can you? Cow Hollow Hotel?
Cow Hollow.
That's good. That's really good.
Thanks.
Good job.
Or Cow Hollow. That's Cockney.
Hello, mate. Yeah. So, guys, we're sorry.
Sorry.
Apologies. Sorry. So she's booked this hotel for them. It's in Manchester, so she has to go 3 hours by train, and the hotel looks lovely. And then she gets there, and she's like, toilet is here. Bed is here. Pretty close to the bed. And I have to agree. I don't care. I've been married for 23 years, and I still don't need a bathroom situation. You should have
booked a hotel room big enough for 3 people. Statler, Dempsey, and IBS. Because IBS is that hanger on, that third wheel to every important event that you've ever had.
Yeah, I think you're right. So next day, she's taking some selfie video there in the Cow Hollow Hotel, and she says she's been sick all night. She's got stomach issues. She's got intense nausea. She's got diarrhea. We get a shot of her on the toilet. No, we don't need that.
No, we heard a noise.
Yeah, and we had on 90 Day the Other Way, we had a toilet scene as well this week.
So, it's
come on. Much. It's too much for me.
I didn't have the subtitles on because I didn't want to know what the subtitles were saying.
Oh, did the subtitles say like bathroom sounds or something?
Yeah. Panic sounds.
Grunting noises. So she says, I'm bummed. I'm supposed to go meet Dempsey, and I'm super bummed because I'm on the toilet. So, So she texts Dempsey to say, I don't know what's going to happen here. But she gets a doctor's appointment, and she goes to see the doctor. And I said, it's fine, because Dempsey needs to take a rest. She's flying in from Thailand, for God's sakes.
Yeah, I would not want to, in either one, diarrhea or flight from Thailand, would want to see the person right away.
Yeah, it's like, give me a few hours to nap, shower,
change,
clean myself up. Yeah. So she goes to the doctor, and 30 minutes later, she comes out.
She sprays her butt first, though.
She does? What do you mean? Like in her pants?
Yes, she takes some sort of perfume and she goes, gotta try to make it smell better, and she sprays her butt on the outside of her like leggings.
Statler, you're doing too much. You're doing too much.
Yeah, I'm sure the doctor appreciated that.
Well, yeah, that her leggings smelled good. So she goes, yeah, all right, I'm good. I love this healthcare here in England. I have a parasite, apparently. I was like, what? Are we just going to blow past the fact she has a parasite? Like,
I
that's
don't think
weird.
she has a parasite. I don't know if they can tell right away that you have a parasite. And I
Because
think she just has IBS and anxiety, because she feels better once she knows what it is, which is classic anxiety poofs.
Because they gave her some, we assume they gave her like a Zofran drip, and she says she's not contagious at all, and she's still up for meeting Dempsey. I was like, you and your parasite are gonna.
That's how strong her sex drive is. No parasite is gonna hold her back. Talk about a third wheel you don't want on your date, a parasite.
I talked with Jake on their podcast about this episode, and he had a voice for the parasite. He was like, wow, hello.
Of course he did.
Yeah, he had a whole voice for it. So she's up for meeting Dempsey, and she has a bag of meds, and she's ready to go.
Shower. Go home and shower first.
I agree. They both needed a shower.
At least some baby wipes.
Yeah.
You're all poopy down there.
Ew. So I just said, this is a bad idea. She should give it till the evening to let all her medications kick in, let them both shower, you know, whatever. But no, she's got to meet. So they're like dropping the pin. Where are they? And they're like doing like a meet cute where they're each coming to the corner to meet up. You know, production
is walking with her butt so clenched. Unless that's her normal walk. But it's like full on butt clenched, trying not to poop your pants.
She was crouching on the sidewalk as people were like walking around her. And
I was praying she doesn't poop the second they meet, because that's a 90-day first.
Yeah, well, that we know of. Yeah.
Yeah.
So she's like, this is a first look at potentially my wife. It's exciting, but it's terrifying. I was like, if you quit saying things like this is the best day of your life and your wife, and all, you're putting too much pressure on the situation, girl. Mm-hmm. Relax.
Yeah.
So here comes Dempsey, who has apparently come straight from the airport. Neither one of these, they understand about, like, take a beat. Get yourself cleaned up before you meet your wife. They are wearing
schlubby athleisure wear that smells like plane and diarrhea.
Yeah.
But
she's
maybe
been backpacking through Thailand.
Soulmates. They don't care.
You're right. You're right. That's right. So they hug each other as they come around the corner. And Statler is so awkward and sounds like a robot and says, wow, here you are. And your eyes are like super mesmerizing and stuff. Okay. Wow, this is weird. Do you have a bag? Here, I'll hold something. She is so awkward. And I can't tell if she's like putting it on or if she really is this awkward, you know?
I think she's really this awkward. And Dempsey's not much better. They're standing 8 feet apart from each other for no reason, barely making eye contact. But it's cute. To me, it was cute. Awkward, as opposed to Cleo and Christian, who are horrible, awkward. And we want to burn it all down.
Because Christian got off of that plane shit-faced and ran towards her and grabbed her face with his hands like he was in a love story. But
and then won't touch her after that.
And then is like, oh, that was weird. So Dempsey says, Dempsey goes, well, I'm blushing, because Statler asked her if she got a sunburn. She goes, no, I'm blushing. And she goes, you do that to me. You know, it's your monotone voice. And Statler goes, I do have a monotone voice. Thanks for pointing that out. And Dempsey goes, I didn't know if I would like you or you would like me. And Statler goes, yeah, so far so good. I think I like you. Yeah, I think I like you too. Huh. Well, I have gifts for you in my backpack. I have gifts for you in my hotel room. Okay. So then we meet Dempsey in her little talking head, and she's so cute. And she goes, I'm Dempsey, I'm 28, live in a farm in Darlington, and I'm excited and anxious to meet Statler. That's my British accent, guys.
Yeah, not bad.
No, it's not great.
I'm not an expert, though.
No, not good. And have you ever been to England?
Yes.
Okay, well, then you're ahead of me. I have not, but I am going in December. So I'm going to come back with a full British accent.
Oh,
full.
Yeah. Or that Madonna in between.
Totally. I'm that person. It's like when I go to Mississippi, I start talking real Southern right away. Yeah, it's going to be bad. I'm going to be so embarrassed for myself. So Statler's adorable. She lives on a farm in Darlington. And then we get this little ITM of them together. And Statler says, you know, I've immediately drawn to her because we're both super awkward, right? And Dempsey's like, yeah. And then Dempsey says, but I think you're adorable. And Statler goes, well, I think you're adorable. And Statler goes, can I check out your butt? Because I didn't get to see it in person. All right, hold on. So she looks back. She goes, wow, Jesus Christ, it's better in person. Dempsey's like, stop. So they talk about their plans for the night. Are they going to go to the hotel or what? And then they just walk off together, giggling, dirty and stinky. They walk off together to the hotel.
And they don't care.
No.
The only thing I would say Statler has done is she hasn't specified what kind of sickness she has yet, but I feel like she just said sick, which could be anything. She didn't say I have panic poops. It's all flowing out of both ends. She didn't. Right. But I feel like that's coming, where she's going to be really crass about it. But it doesn't seem to matter. Like, they seem to be like that kind of giddy that even diarrhea doesn't stop the giddiness.
Even diarrhea can't stop these two.
That sounds like a commercial for diarrhea.
Stomach vomit.
When you're so in love that even diarrhea can't stop you.
Use Pepto. Let's move on to Cleo and Christian.
Do we have to?
Yes, we do.
I hate this. I'm getting so angry with him. It's really upsetting. Their hero shot is so awkward. His hand is on her stomach and her hand is covering his hand like a freaking pregnancy announcement.
I didn't even notice that. That's hilarious.
Why is that their hero shot? That's how awkward they are. And then they wake up the next morning after the first night. He looks very rough in the morning. I think he thinks he looks charming and rugged like Hugh Grant or something in the morning.
Totally.
And he doesn't. So they discuss that they awkwardly did snuggle a few times during the night, each alternating who was the big spoon, I guess. But she's bummed there wasn't more affection because she says it's very stereotypical that people with autism spectrum disorder don't like affection, but that's like my love language is like physical touch and cuddles, and he does not seem to do that. So then
it's been 45 minutes, like relax.
Yeah, but she said it has to improve in a day.
Yeah.
So she puts on topical estrogen gel, which is how she does her hormones. And she says in America, it's mostly pills, but here, which is not good for your liver. I thought it was shots. Maybe it's both. I don't know. I always thought it was shots. But
I don't know.
Anyways, do that. Gel is way better. Good for you, England.
Yeah, let it just so
yeah. But then he asks a very strange question. But maybe it's not. I thought it was a weird question. How long does it take to go into your skin? And then she's like, within a few minutes, like it's like gel.
It's like a lotion.
Have you never used a gel before or a lotion? And then I think she knows what he's thinking. And she says, well, within a few minutes, you could touch my skin and not turn into a trans woman, which is hilarious. And then I thought, that's not what he was concerned about. That would never even occur to me. That's what he was concerned about. He tells us.
He's probably like, don't get that estrogen on me.
I'm a full man. I have all this tea. I'm high tea. I don't need those low tea commercials where they're golfing. I don't want that estrogen in me because I'm all man. It felt very macho BS and I didn't like it. And he says, I'm uncomfortable. Like, do I have to be careful not to touch her arm? No, you are such a moron.
He did less than zero research.
You've been talking to this woman for a long time. It's never come up how she does this, or you never did research. Okay. So she wants to plan the day and he wants to go with the flow, and that stresses her out because of her autism spectrum disorder, which I think is what you're supposed to say instead of autism. She likes planning and predictability. And this is the least of their problems, is that their personalities are so different. There's going to be so many more. But this is a huge problem right away. And so they go sightseeing and he's wearing a backwards baseball cap, which I did not know why was he doing that, Mary Payne?
I mean, I'm like, okay, was it cold? He's trying to keep his 6 hairs warm. I don't know.
He is balding for sure.
He is balding. And so he thought that was a
he is
boyish
free
look.
Gino. And then full Gino is when you turn the cap around facing front.
Full Gino is when you vary your hat from baseball to fedora to to newsboy, just whatever. Yeah,
beret. I'm waiting for a beret.
A beret. Oh my
Can
God.
someone please Photoshop Gino with a beret? That is all I ask.
Yeah.
So,
oh yeah, that'd be easy. Yeah.
That's easy. So he's excited to see all the London sights because he loves the James Bond movies. And he says, she's like my James Bond girl, in a totally unconvincing way that he doesn't. There's no chemistry there. They're walking arm in arm, and it's like, I don't even know. You could cast 2 non-actors to work to be in a commercial for Paris, and they have to walk arm in arm, and they would have more chemistry upon instantly meeting than these two who have been talking for months.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm really just trying to figure out his situation. Like, is he uncomfortable, or what is it? What is his deal?
Yeah, I don't know. I think his situation, he reminds me, I think, and I've heard this online, of Caleb and what was her name? Alana?
Yes, yes.
And she was the little person, and he was wanted to show how open-minded he was, that he would dare to date this beautiful little person, because he's so cool. And I feel like that's something that's going on with Christian. I feel like he just wants to be on TV. I don't know. But there's other people who think worse things. They think like not there's questioning a lot of things about him. That's all I'll say.
Okay.
So
all right. Well, we'll see. We'll see how it plays out.
He says, I'm sorry nothing happened last night. I didn't want you to think I wasn't into you. It's just I don't want to do anything right away. And she says, oh, I wouldn't have slept with you the first night anyway. But she totally would have. So then they take a shot of whiskey and then they kiss. And it's like a peck. It's like you'd kiss like your cousin at a reunion or something. Like, it was so.
He says like whiskey kiss or something.
Let's do whiskey kiss. And then they kiss. And then instead of being like, it's so nice being with you, that kiss was nice, something about the kiss, they're like, oh, the taste of the whiskey is good. It's not that bitter. Like, they start discussing the alcohol after you've just had, I don't understand. And so then he starts rambling like a college dude about bragging how much he can drink. And, oh, I get wasted, bro. And my nickname in my frat was Wasted, bro. And I do karaoke when I'm drunk. And I go out dancing. And do you like dancing and karaoke? Like they've never talked before. Like he doesn't know anything about this woman. She hates these things. And it's their first night. They're on the most beautiful, like, outside bar overlooking the water. And it's their first night together and they're alone. And he says, let's get out of here and go somewhere more active.
Like, I was like, why can't you just stay there? It seems like she's enjoying it. Yeah, because it's not so enclosed.
Spend one night chatting with her. And he says, I want to see you get buzzed and really loosen up. And she's so uncomfortable. She doesn't like to drink. She doesn't want to get buzzed. She has autism spectrum disorder. She doesn't like to be around people. This is not her personality, and it makes her super anxious. So don't force her into this. I'm so annoyed with him right now. Same. And so they go to this loud bar, and she doesn't think the place is very autism friendly because it's so loud and crowded and cluttered. It's too much. It's too much for me, and I just have social anxiety. Like, it's
a lot of pictures of the queen hanging from the ceiling with blinking lights,
flashing lights, sensory overload. And so I can't imagine how she feels. And so then he tells another drunken story that he thinks is so hilarious. I got so drunk on the plane, bro, and I was like wandering the aisles totally drunk, and everyone else was sleeping because it was the middle of the night, but I was like that one dude that's that hilarious one dude that's drunk but everyone is trying to sleep on a plane. And then I saw this girl, she was like 21 years old, and I sat down and started talking to her and her friend. We were like just chatting, and then I got up to get a drink for the three of us, and the flight attendant said, no, I've heard about you. And Cleo says, she sees right away, she's like, so I think those girls complained about you. Or
the minute he stood up, they pressed their call button. Like, help.
Yeah. or everyone else on the plane complained about you. Like, there's no
Yeah, because he
shortage.
said he was like walking down the aisle,
Yeah.
and of course, sometimes the plane's moving, you have to grab on. I think he was swaying back and
He's
forth down the
grabbing
aisle and was
people's
grabbing.
shoulders and like,
Yes.
yes, that's horror. Oh my God, no. And so he says, well, no, I mean, like, no, it wasn't that big of a deal. And she says, I would be so uncomfortable if I was those girls and someone did that to me. And he said, well, I guess I'm a 30-year-old man. Maybe I look like a creep in that situation, but I wasn't hitting on them. So you admit that you do look like a creep in that situation.
He did that video of like, oh, they cut me off. I'm only halfway through this flight. They cut me off. I don't know why. Let me stick this tissue up my nose. He's such a weird.
He's gonna go brag to all of his friends that he got cut off on a flight because
Right.
that
Yeah.
makes him sound so cool.
Yeah.
You're 30. Stop it. So then he says, well, does it bother you that I was talking to these girls? And she says, well, if I was on the plane with you and you started sitting down and talking to random girls, then yes, that would be weird. And he says, I would never do that to you. Remember that for 30 seconds from now. So then she says, but you do it behind my back. And he says, no, I wouldn't. And she says, but you did.
But you just did. Yeah.
And he says, but you weren't on the plane. This is the stupidest who's on first conversation because he's not getting it. That she's saying, exactly, I wasn't there and you did it behind my back because I wasn't there.
Why tell this story? Because the story is so hilarious. Like, I don't get even why he told the story.
Exactly. And he says, I can't help it. I just make friends everywhere I go. I'm magnetic. I threw up in my mouth. Don't call yourself magnetic.
Nope.
That's an instant repellent right there. Don't
Agree.
do that. So then he leans over to another table and is like, hey, ladies, what are you celebrating tonight? Like a waiter that's trying to make a good tip or something, and starts chatting them up, these 26-year-olds that are celebrating a birthday, which is exactly what he just said he would never do in front of her. He does in front of her.
Why does he think that table full of women wants to chat with
talk to him? Are they bored talking amongst themselves, their actual friends? He needs to step in and liven it up.
Did they poke him and say like, hey, you've got cameras. We'd love to be on TV. Can you talk to us so we can get on TV or something? I don't know. That
I could see. But that's not what happened. He thought, I'm going to save these girls and entertain them with magic tricks or whatever. And then so she's just sitting there. Cleo's just sitting there. And finally he goes, this is my girlfriend Cleo. And it's my first time meeting her. So I'm choosing to spend the night talking to you ladies. Like, what a douchebag.
He's like, lean in, get over here, get over here. And she's like, no, I don't want to be in that group. Like, I'm fine.
Good for her for setting boundaries and saying, no, this is too many people for me. I can't do this. And he's like, oh, okay. But then he keeps talking to them. And she says it's way too many. It's sensory overload, too many people talking. And she wishes that he was more sensitive to this. And so, of course, he realizes she's uncomfortable and he separates himself from the ladies. No, he does not. He keeps talking to them and he thinks he's so freaking charming and they're just like his captive audience. And so finally she steps in and says, I need to leave, which amazingly for her, good for her. I need to leave. And he says, okay. And he gives the ladies clasped prayer hands, like clasped, which if I didn't hate him already, the clasped hands, like, you've been a great audience. Thank you.
Yes, right.
Thanks,
it's sort of like,
friends. Thanks, friends. I'll see you later, friends.
It's like what you do at the end of your comedy set. Like,
yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Hands together. Thank you. Yeah.
I had flames on the side of my face. And then they're about to leave and he's like, one more sip. And he like starts chugging his drink because he has to get every last drop of that because he loves alcohol. I don't know if you knew that, but part of his personality is he loves to get wasted, bro.
He's so fun.
Yeah.
He's so fun.
And so I really hate him. I've often thought I should be someone like that because they would bring me out of my shell and like be spontaneous and get me out of my, comfort zone. But there's a time and a place for everything. And not if she is super uncomfortable. Yeah. And it's the first time you're meeting her. You have to be able to turn it off.
it bothered me that he was like, hey, scooch in. Come on. Hey, these girls want to get to know you. And she was like, I'm okay over here. Because then she feels like an asshole.
Yeah.
Like, now this table full of girls thinks I'm a jerk because I don't want
Right.
to scooch in, but I have like a neurodivergent thing in my brain that
Yes.
makes me not want to get in this group. But these
Uh-huh.
people don't know me, and I don't want to like. I'm never going to see him again. But it's like it made her look like she was
Mm-hmm.
being like she was being like a jealous jerk. But
Right.
and she doesn't want to scooch over and be in this group of strangers. Like it's too
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
And he just wasn't. It wasn't computing to him
No.
that this would be super uncomfortable for her.
No, he thinks he's so great socially, and he actually has no social game or awareness whatsoever.
It's all
Because
about him.
it's all about him. He's not focused
Yeah.
on what she's feeling at all. And so she tells us if this date is any indication of our relationship, then this is not going to work.
Right.
First date, she knows.
Yep.
He's selfish.
Yes. Yes, he is. All right, let me tell you what, Keisha. If you are looking to budget your food expenses this summer, you're going to get more bang for your bite with America's best value meal kit. It's Every Plate. Okay, Every Plate is 25% cheaper than grocery shopping with no hidden fees, so you can count on a great value week after week. Plus, you only pay for what you need with pre-portioned ingredients. So, how often, Keisha, you go to the store, you buy like a little thing of mayonnaise because you need it for a recipe, and then it sits in your fridge for like 2 months and then you throw it out.
Often.
Often.
Often in this house, yes.
Or like fresh rosemary or something and you use it for one thing and then it just sits there till it goes bad and you throw it away.
All the
That
time.
drives me crazy and it happens in our house. It's probably happening in my fridge right now. So that's why I love Every Plate. They send you exactly what you need. And the packaging is sustainable. I got my Every Plate box this week and it's different than some other things because it comes in and it has like the bottom part is like a cardboard box that's like a little tray and you pick it up and it's everything in there. It's like your carrots, your onions, everything. It's like it's like you went to a farmer's market. It's just and it's beautiful. And I took a picture of it. I'm going to put it on my Instagram. So Every Plate offsets 100% of their delivery emissions, and that means that their meals have 31% lower carbon footprint on average than supermarket meals of the same amount. Plus, all the packaging are curbside recyclable, like that cardboard. You just throw it right in your recycle bin. And I love that you can customize Every Plate to your liking with options like you can swap out your proteins, you can swap out your sides, add a protein to your veggie. I do that all the time. If something is just veggie, I'll just add some like ground turkey or something. You got to do you. You got to do what works for you. There are 26 tasty and affordable recipes that change every week, including my favorite 15-minute or less dinners and oven-free recipes. So it's easy to find something for every meal of the week. Now, last week they sent me these white pizza type flatbreads. So it's like a flatbread, like a white pizza, but it had like chopped up zucchini and tomatoes. So good. And I chopped up the zucchini small enough so nobody realized they were zucchini in my family. Because I was like, you can't even taste it and you're getting some nutrition. And I tricked everybody. And everybody loved it. And other than the chopping, it was super fast and I didn't spend all night in the kitchen. You can get $1.49 per meal by going to everyplate.com/podcast and entering code PINKSHADE49. Get started with Every Plate for just $1.49 per meal by going to everyplate.com/podcast and entering the code PINKSHADE49. So one more time, everyplate.com/podcast. The code is PINKSHADE49, and that is also up to a $110 value. Oh my gosh. All right. Well, let's move on to
Who can lower my blood pressure? Who can we talk about that can lower my blood pressure?
Well, it's going to have to be Meisha.
Okay.
Meisha.
That's fine.
So it's been a couple of days. She's been there a couple of days there in the Holy Land, and the trip has been a mixed bag. She says she loves being there, but she's struggling with her concerns and her concerns not being heard. She wants to meet his family, right? And she tells him, like, if you can come through with that, like, I'm going to feel better. He's like, So they're getting out of the car. And this was interesting because we don't know where they're going. We just see them in the car. And he's like, this car is my baby or whatever. And I was like, that car's your baby? Okay. So
and she's like, I'm supposed to be your baby.
Yeah.
You don't want to be this guy's baby.
No, you don't. So, but we don't know where they're going. Are they going sightseeing? So when they first get out of the car, she's like, everybody's dressed up. And he goes, that's a wedding, Meisha. And she goes, right, but
I did laugh out loud
yeah.
at that. She's
And
like, that woman is so dressed up. So I'm so underdressed compared to that woman who is in a wedding dress. It's her wedding.
But my thing was, are they going to this wedding? And then she would be like, oh my God, but no, they're just
No.
like sightseeing. And she had on like
There
flowy
happened
pants
to
and a
be a
tank
wedding
top.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she's like, I'm so underdressed, I have to change clothes. He's like, Meisha. So she gets in the car. She's like, block the view. So he like blocks the view so she can change. And she's in like business casual. She's back to her weather girl dress.
Yeah.
I will tell you that when I was talking to Jake, he made me laugh so hard because he calls her Megan Fox News.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
really never been anything more perfect.
Yeah.
Because she does look like Megan Fox. She does look like she could be a Fox News weather girl.
Absolutely. 1000%.
So she puts on a business casual, bandage dress with her heels to go look at some sites. And they're looking around and he's in jeans and a t-shirt. It's like, this is crazy, Meisha. So he says, I have no idea why Meisha is so worldly and concerned about her clothes. I don't either, but she is. And this is the girl that you're into. So you need to just get on board.
Yeah.
So they go to this lookout and they're taking selfies. They're in Haifa. And this is an important town in the Old Testament. That's all I got. It's
Yeah.
important. But it's gorgeous. They show like it's on the Mediterranean. They're showing the ocean
Mhm.
and the boats. It's really pretty. So they get a coffee and they're walking and talking. And she says, have you texted your brother yet? The small one. And he says, yes, I texted the small one. Let me show you. And he shows her the text. And it just basically says, Meisha is here and she wants to meet you. And he says, Meisha, since you've been here, you're really rushing me. We have our entire lives together. And she's like, what? How can you think it's our entire lives when how could I be with someone who I feel like doesn't even listen to me or care about what I'm feeling? Do you understand? Like these 2 weeks are important. We need
Also,
to know.
have you
We need
seen
to
this
know.
woman? You need to
Yeah.
lock that down, son. Look at you, Fisher. You're fishing all day
Yeah.
and live in your mom's basement.
Yeah.
Look at this lady.
Yeah.
You should have
doesn't get
proposed
it.
before she got there.
Yeah.
Put a
he
ring
doesn't
on
get
it.
Yeah. I hope you saved up all that fishing money to get her a ring. So
It's going to be like fishing twine.
it's symbolic of the fishes and the loaves in the
Uh-huh.
Bible. So she says these 2 weeks are important. Like we need to know after these 2 weeks because if I go home not engaged, this is over. Like we have to have an answer. And he just says, we'll see, Meisha. We'll
Oh my
see.
God. Why does he have the power in
don't
this
know.
relationship?
I don't know. But in his talking head, he goes, Meisha never talks like that. And she has always said nothing will separate us, but now she's threatening the relationship. I'm listening to her, but I'm not going to change. I'll always be the same person. So that worries me about my relationship because my goal is to engage her, but I don't know. So
You want
better-
to stay the same. You want
he says,
to
I'm not going to change, is what he
be a
says.
46-year-old virgin who lives with
Yes.
your mom and fishes
Yes.
all day, doesn't have a job.
Yes. And is
Okay.
not monetizing his website. We can't
Okay.
stress it enough.
Good for you.
So they go to this outdoor restaurant and she says, I want to get Nicola out of his comfort zone. I want to see what happened. And he says, oh, Meisha, this area, it used to be very calm, but now it's like nightclubs is too busy, it's too many people. People like to drink and it's wild and I will only stay here 1/2 hour. So she's like, all right, well, let me do what I can in this half hour. So he says, he's trying to adapt. He doesn't want to lose her. And Meisha says, so they're getting beers. And Meisha says, when was the last time you went to a bar? And he says, 20 years ago, Meisha. And, Meisha, it's okay to drink this beer. Drinking beer is not a sin. But Meisha, as a devout Catholic, you cannot go to a bar. You cannot go to a nightclub. You cannot dance and smoke cigarettes.
Why
And
can you have a beer and not do those other things? Is that in the Bible?
He's making this up as he goes along.
No cigarettes, but beer is fine.
Yeah. So then how come hookah is okay? They do hookah in the Bible?
What is he talking about?
I just made that up. I have no idea if they do hookah in the Bible.
Why are those
So-
chairs so much taller than the table they're sitting at, though?
Oh, I didn't even notice that. Were they like leaning towards the table?
The seat is at table level, so they're just
Oh.
hunched over.
We saw a lot of that this week. So he says, she goes, all right, I have a secret. And she's trying to be like flirty and fun with him. Like, we're
Yeah.
on a date. I'm going to tell you something. She goes, once a year, I have a cigarette on New Year's Eve. I do. And he's like, Meisha, I do not like it. I don't like it. And she goes, it's just once a year. It's one cigarette a year. Talking to Head again, he says, I'm so worried about her and her worldly temptations.
Oh my God.
Worldly. So she says, Nicola, in my other life, pre-conversion, going to the nightclubs and the bars and having the one cigarette a year, that was my whole life. It was fun. It was fun. I got to tell you. And he goes, as a devout Catholic, being in a nightclub and dancing is a sin. And
Where?
she says, where? Where does it say that? Did you go to the Footloose School of Catholicism? So she says, Nicola, I'm also devout, but I love to go out and dance, and I can't be guilt-ridden about that.
No, she's a strong, independent woman, straight out of Destiny's Child songs.
That's
so
right.
she cannot be held down by him.
I think so. And I like how she stood up and said, I'm also devout. Don't try to throw your devout at me. I'll throw you another devout.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, he says, at the nightclub, if you go to the nightclub, it opens the door to temptation. And she says, right, but if you just go in and dance, how is that a sin? And then she says, I'm worried because my daughters are going to college. So if they have boyfriends and go clubbing, like, are you going to judge them? They'll be in college. And he says, very telling.
Finally, she's asking this question.
Yeah.
It should have been asked a long time ago.
Because we have thought this.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, well, Meisha, they are your daughters, and I won't judge them. Because if I judge them, that could destroy our relationship. And she says, right. Then she says, let's just go in and see.
I was not satisfied with that answer at all.
I wasn't either.
No.
So now they've had the one beer, and he's already proclaimed his 30 minutes are up, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she says, let's just go in to the bar and let's just see. And he says, okay, Meisha, but I will not like it. 5 minutes only. Next shot is the two of them having a great time up in the club. They
did like a sitcom quick cut.
Yeah.
Where someone is like, I'm not going to do that. And then it cuts to them doing it.
Yes, it's hilarious. So I was like, they're up at the club. She is rubbing her business casual bandage dress right on top of him. And he was fine with it. He liked it.
Laughing and having so much fun dancing.
He was on beer number 2. It was wild.
Yeah. But
so
then tomorrow he's going to be like, she caused me to sin. Meisha is making me a sinner.
6 Hail Marys.
Yeah.
So she says, I love to see him come out of his shell, and I love to see that he can compromise. Well, I think next week he's going to be guilt-ridden.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's go to Riley and Violet. I'd like to say that, once again, no angry man this week, but
Thank you.
I will tell you that I found out from Kyle from Cray Cray what it is that he finds so problematic about Riley.
Okay, what is it?
Okay, so
is it
Jake,
the YouTube videos?
Yes. So Jake told me that he doesn't necessarily think he's like an angry man or he's bad or whatever. He just thinks he's just a sex tourist. We're like, well, we can all agree on that. I mean, okay.
Yeah,
that's
everyone
the base.
On this show is a sex tourist.
That's where we're starting, at the base.
Yeah.
That's the base of the show.
I don't even mention it anymore because it's so, that's the whole basis of the show.
Yeah, so we got that. So Jake said he doesn't necessarily think he's like a terrible person or whatnot, but he does think he's a sex tourist. Okay, we agree. Kyle and Kim, and mostly Kyle, wrote me back and was like, look, he has these horrible videos where he was like trying to do stand-up comedy, but the jokes were weird and not funny, and like, haha, isn't it funny when like somebody got raped in the street? Haha, hilarious. So I said, was he trying to do like a super edgy Dave Chappelle, like just say the worst thing?
Yes.
And Kim goes,
saw them. Yes.
Yeah, Kim's like, maybe he was, but it wasn't funny. It was just weird. I was like, okay, so he's not funny.
They're horrible, not funny videos from 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And in one of them, like he's at a Chinese food restaurant and he's asking if there are Jews in China. And the guy doesn't understand him. And like, I don't know if he's saying juice or like keeps checking in the back. Do you have Jews? And then he's like, no, we don't have Jews. I asked in the back, we don't have Jews. It's a dumb joke. I was not offended as a Jew at all. Okay. Because it's just that dumb trying to be edgy comedy that is not, but he does it poorly. And also I feel like it was 10 years ago and he thought he was doing something. I didn't see the one about someone being like attacked in the street. I only saw a couple that were like ethnically offensive,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
like more offensive to me was that it wasn't funny. That was what was more offensive to me.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's what they said. They were like, he's just like, it's stupid. It's not funny. It didn't make sense. I was like, well, was this like that's what I said. It was a 10-year-old thing where he thought he was hilarious and trying to be edgy, but it didn't come across because he's not a stand-up comedian.
Yes, that's exactly what it was.
Okay. Well, listen,
To me, that's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah. We can agree on these things about Riley, but we're just not seeing that he's like got some Jekyll and Hyde personality. Again, we may see it. We haven't seen it yet.
Yeah. And people in your chat think that I've like attached onto the angry, and then they're saying they don't think he's angry, but that's what they were saying. I got that word from all of you all that said he was angry.
But he's not.
But I don't see it. He is jealous for sure.
Yeah.
So they probably are not a good match because he's way too jealous and she's too mysterious or shady, depending which way you're looking at it. I did want to point out something that one of your listeners, Rebecca, said on the Facebook page, which I had not made the connection, is she makes him promise to not be angry in front of her family.
Yeah.
And she's the one who sent 150 angry texts to his dad, his elderly, sickly father.
Right.
So that's rich. Yeah. And then she brings up his anger in front of the family anyways at the dinner table.
Yeah.
So they're going on a date to the Vietnam War Remembrance Museum, which does not seem romantic to me, but it is a metaphor for their relationship because no one can decide who is winning. And who's the better side. It's just going to be in history. We will be fighting over Riley and Violet forever.
For the ages. Yeah, for sure.
She wants to talk with him about how he's rude in Vietnam culture. He should have brought a gift for her mom. Her mom is Suelu's mom and wanted some money or some gifts or something. And that is the culture there, which is fine.
I think that go to anybody's house for dinner or whatever, you take the host a gift. And so I do think that was a mistake on his part. And I think I think it's easily remedied. Just bring her something next time. Because he did bring very nice presents for the daughters, but he just didn't in his mind.
Why
when he
wouldn't
bought those
you
presents,
also bring for the brother and the mom?
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense. And he says, I didn't know. And she says, you have a phone. Like, you could Google what the customs are here. You could have called me and asked me what she liked. Like, he should have done that. Was a huge mistake on his part. And he apologizes and says he feels horrible and he didn't want to make anyone feel bad or look insensitive, and he respects them. And he says, I do want to learn more about your culture, but I do want you to learn about mine. For example, you called me ugly and old and fat to that lady in the shop. And in my culture, that's rude. And she says, I didn't know. That's how we joke around in my culture. And he says, look, I'm a 6'4" black man in Vietnam. I'm already getting stares and people pointing at me every day. I've seen like one black person since we've been here. And so when you are pointing and making fun of me in Vietnamese and calling me fat and ugly, it doesn't feel good. And then he points out how there's already a lot of prejudice within the black community about darker skin versus lighter skin. And it's very prevalent in the Asian communities as well. We saw it on Indian matchmaking, how everyone wanted someone fair. And so he's like, and I'm very dark skinned, so I feel like I'm being judged for that. So when you're pointing and making me feel othered a lot, it doesn't feel good. And then you tell me you were calling me fat and ugly in Vietnamese. And she really seems to be hearing him. She's like nodding, and she says, I'm going to try to change myself. And he says, we're not understanding each other's cultures, but we're not going to give up. We're going to learn, and we're going to ask questions because that's how we can learn. And it was the most mature conversation about cultural differences we've seen on the show in a long time. It's not going to last, but it was good in that moment. So
yeah, I've seen a lot of Reddit threads and even in our Facebook group, people saying that whether they have Vietnamese people in their family, or whether they come from Vietnamese family or they married into it or whatever, that is culturally a thing that they do, that they give a lot of shit to their spouse or
Yeah.
whatever. And whether they're joking or not or being serious, that's just the way it is. And nobody thinks anything about it. So I think she was just sort of like trying to joke around with her girlfriend, but never said to him, like, we're just joking. You're so cute. I'm so glad you're here, which is kind of like what we would do. And that's kind of what he's expecting. But so I see both sides. I see that that's just how she would normally talk, but she has to understand that it hurt his feelings, but it was a very mature, calm conversation.
It really
I
was.
liked it. Yeah.
And I saw one YouTube video and they were like, and the guy was like, he's playing the race card. And I was like, sometimes that's a valid card.
Sometimes that's how you feel. Yeah.
Yeah, he felt that way.
Absolutely.
Well, I don't know if he was maybe deflecting from because he was in the hot seat, but I didn't feel like that. Like,
no, I think he heard her and said, I apologize, and hopefully we'll see him bring mom a nice gift.
Yeah. So they go to dinner at a very pretty rooftop restaurant and they start to talk about the future. She says, if we get married and your family doesn't like me, what happens? Because in Vietnam, if you don't get the family's approval, we don't get married. And he says, well, in America, it is important that the family likes your spouse, but it's not the be all end all. And I would choose you because I'm marrying you. And so she says, well, I'm happy because your dad already likes me. And he goes, about those 150 texts that you said horrible things about me when we were arguing. And she says, we're not supposed to talk about bad things tonight. I'm leaving. And she starts to stand up and he goes, I'm sorry. And I was like, don't apologize. She's the one who opened the door by saying, your dad loves me.
Yeah.
So he's not allowed to say something because you're not supposed to talk about bad things tonight.
Also, do you think it's interesting that we have never seen them kiss or hold hands or anything?
Yeah, they're being very chaste. They're not sleeping in the same hotel room. They're much more traditional than a lot of these couples.
Yeah. Interesting.
So she's like, I'm leaving, and he said, I'm sorry, and then we do see the flashback where she had sent hundreds of texts saying, your son is always going to be alone because he doesn't know what love is and he only loves himself and all this stuff. Why would you send the dad that? Why would you ever send the dad who is like has COVID? Why would you do that? So
I don't know.
That's a little psycho.
They're both a little hot-headed. I feel like,
very hot-headed.
And they're both sort of immature when they kind of quickly like, that's it, I'm leaving. Both of them do that, But I
do feel overall like whenever he says we need to be able to talk about these moments when, I have issues that I haven't gotten addressed. He came with a list of questions and he's never gotten them answered. Why did you say you were married or you're divorced when you weren't divorced? Why did you say you'd get off the app when you weren't off the app? Why did you say this thing about the visa that wasn't true? Like anytime he brings it up, she deflects or walks off or like she won't talk about it. So that's when she thinks he's wrong, she's willing to have the discussion. But when he's too jealous about the phone call with the shirtless guy. So they do need to have this discussion at some point. So he feels like Tiffany can have the discussion for me because I'm not getting anywhere. And this was a real misstep by Riley. I feel like he ambushes Violet and I didn't really like it. So he says, this good friend of mine, Tiffany, she's like my sister. And
It is his sister. It is his sister.
Why does he say she's like my sister then?
He said she is my sister because even Violet says you look alike your sister. Yeah.
Yeah, and she goes, he's my brother. I think they're just friends, and it's like that's my brother there. It's like that.
I thought it really was his sister.
Then it was phrased in the weirdest way ever. Like she's like my sister because she's my sister.
Yeah. Because we have the same mom. No, I think they are brother and sister, but once again, I'm wrong 98% of the time.
I'm team not related, but that's doesn't really matter because Tiffany has a job to do, and her job is tale as old as 90 Day Time, which is ambush the person with questions and make them feel very uncomfortable. So he says, but he sets it up like, Tiffany would love to talk to you on the phone. It's going to be so great. And Violet's like, oh, she wants to talk to me? Okay. And Violet's all smiles and she's fixing her hair and she's so excited to do the video chat. And then Riley's like, and I'm going to go to the bathroom. You two ladies talk amongst yourself. And he leaves the phone with Violet, which felt very ambushy.
So awkward. So awkward.
He knows Tiffany is going to grill her and he'll be peeing in the bathroom away from it all. And Tiffany is saying, you're so beautiful. And Riley tells me you might be the one. So how do you feel about him? And Violet says, well, he's a really good guy and he's really cute. And Tiffany says, yeah, he is a good guy. And then she drops the first bomb right as Riley's coming back from the bathroom, which is, you asked him to get off that dating app, and then it turned out you were still on the dating app. What's going on with that? And I thought Riley was going to turn and run with like dust clouds like the Roadrunner cartoon, but he sits and he's like, she's asking you a question. Why were you still on the apps? And Violet gets very uncomfortable, as anyone would, because she's being bombarded with questions by this woman that she's never met before. And then Riley says, I know this is uncomfortable, but when we had dinner with your family, I had never met them and they bombarded me with questions and I answered them, which is a fair point. But at the same time, English, you were able to answer in English, and English is your first language, and English is not her first language. And I could see her being uncomfortable, like she won't be able to express herself properly, explain herself in the situation. So it's not a level playing field, and it made me feel kind of icky. But I know that this is part of this is a trope of 90 Day, is someone grilling the person about all their mistakes. Every family member on the show has done that. But I still didn't like it.
I didn't like it either, especially because it's on like FaceTime and you're like,
it's at a nice dinner and she wasn't expecting it, and
they just said they weren't allowed to talk about bad things at this dinner, but
so I just really didn't like it.
I agree.
But she does at some point need to answer for these questions.
I know. And then she's going to find out that he talked to a private investigator, and then she's going to be mad about that. And then yeah. All right. Well, let's talk about my friend Tyray here.
Tyray needs a friend.
Poor Tyray. So he says he does still feel in his heart that Carmella is real. And probably what's going on here is there's just a boyfriend or somebody that's trying to break them up.
I can't.
So he's in the car with his sister LaShanti, and he says he's hired a private investigator, to do the research. So we meet the private investigator. His name is Lewis. Lewis is a real kind of New York kind of guy, right?
Lewis is the same age as my parents, but he somehow understands technology, whereas my parents cannot find the Photos app on their phone. But he is like, there's a burner account, there's a burner phone, and this Twitter account comes from this IP address. Like, he knows what's up.
Yes, he does. He's kept up with the times, Lewis has. So Lewis tells Tyray and LaShanti, he says, look, I ran the phone numbers and some other items. Now, the numbers were all drop phones, untraceable phones, but an email did come back to a PayPal account. But all that's private and that would have to be subpoenaed, so we're not going to go down that route. But I also did some reverse image searches for the pictures that you gave me, and Tyray goes, yeah, it's like escort sites. He goes, well, came back a little raunchier than that. So turns out she's a cam girl, a cam porn star is what he says. And so Tyray and LaShanti are like, let me look at that. Let me get up all in there and let me see those pictures. So Lewis turns the computer around and he goes, here's one of her Twitter accounts, okay? It's a sweet Carmella here. So you notice here, she's got some contact information there. She's got this PayPal account here. Doesn't match with the PayPal account you gave one. So, but the account is listed as United States. So Tyray leans in and goes, oh, okay, I see right there. Okay, it says fetish queen. So he rubs his eyes.
Yeah, he takes off his glasses. You know someone's upset when they take off their glasses and rub their eyes. I've never done that in real life, but it happens a lot on TV.
He says, wow, so I've never seen these pictures. Wow, okay, never seen this before, and I'm more confused than ever. And you know what I'm beginning to think? I'm beginning to wonder if the person behind the text and the woman in the photo is two different people. What? You solved it. Slow clap for Tyray.
Good job, Tyray. It only took
So-
you 8 times as long as it took the rest of us. And you watch Catfish for the 100th time. You watched the show Catfish.
So Lewis is like, yeah, right. So Lewis says, look, here's a video. It's of the sex cam video, and here's the voice. And Tyray goes, well, I never heard her voice before, so I don't know. And Lewis is like looking at LaShanti like, are we hearing the same? What?
4 years. You
Never heard her
voice.
Mm-mm. And he goes, well, you see here, these are the same background. This is the photos are the same. You see this
That
picture of this
moon
woman's
tapestry.
voice. Yeah, you see it. You see this. And he says, this is not the Carmella I fell in love with. And she was my soulmate. And what I'm realizing is these photos are not the person that I fell in love with. And Lewis is like, uh-huh. And he says to Lewis, he goes, I don't know, man. I think I'm just angry. Somebody got me. Somebody got me with this photos of a porn star. But I'm so confused because, like, you have a way to get in touch with that person I was talking to. So maybe I should reach out to see if that person was working on the scam with Carmella. Maybe Carmella and Christian are working together.
What does it matter?
Who cares? You got scammed by two different people.
Or it doesn't matter. 8 people, 100 people, 1 person. It doesn't matter.
Lewis says, that's very possible. Sometimes these people work together. One uses the pictures and one is the voice. And Tyray goes, after what I've been through, I really need to talk to my family. And this is going to be hard, especially for my mother, because I'm too old to make these mistakes. That's right. You are.
Yes.
You are.
Yes.
So Tyray's at home now. He's cracking open a beer with his sister. And
wait, I have a question. The videos of her seem to be blurred out, but the face is not. Does that mean she signed a release or no? Because those are like public images from the internet.
It's probably just it's public domain. It's OnlyFans or whatever it is.
Okay.
Yeah, whatever the campsites are. I don't know. I don't know what the kids are doing these days, Kimberly.
Yeah, I know.
So he pops open a beer with his sister, Sharpia. I wrote this down phonetically to make sure I didn't say it wrong. Sharpia. So he cracks open a beer, and he's getting mom's pills all sorted for the week. And he says, this is what I do every week. I get everything ready on Sunday for the week. And he tells us in his talking head, he goes, I'm going to have to come clean about the catfish. And I have reached out to the real Carmella.
Oh, my.
It's not the real, whatever, the person. But I haven't heard back, so I'm going to talk. So Sharpia wheels in the mom, Whitney, and says, Mom and Sharpia, I got to talk to y'all. And, I met a girl 4 years ago online. She lives in Barbados. And they were like, remember that time you went to Barbados? And Mom says, yeah, I was real sick and in the hospital. Sharpia goes, I couldn't believe you chose that time to go on a vacation, but I thought maybe you just needed some time to yourself, but you were going to see this girl. He says, yep, that's right. That's right.
I was like, don't judge. Try not to judge. He's a caretaker. He needed time. But I was like, oh my God, his mom was in the hospital when he went to Barbados.
And so they go, all right, we get it. Because of everything you do for this family, you needed that time, so you got to go see the girl. So
that was
what
nice
happened?
of him. It was very nice.
So when you saw her, what happened? And he says, well, she never showed up. And they're like, say what? What? And so you dropped her. And he goes, no, I did not. I continued to talk to her, even though I flew to Barbados on my last dollar and she did not show up.
Well, my mom was in the hospital.
Well, my mom was in the hospital with a stroke. So they go, what the heck? Why would you do that? And he says, well, the producers here, they have found her, and they found out that I've been catfished by a man. And Mom goes, now, wait a minute now. So it's a boy or it's a girl? And he says, well, LaShanti and I
feel like they had to do this scene several times because the moms and sisters' reactions were like not matching up to our reactions when we heard it was a man.
Well, they just don't understand.
They're just maybe confused, yeah.
Because it's confusing.
It takes a second to process, yeah. Also, they probably thought these camera people were there for like a show about sons taking care of their sickly mothers or whatever they thought the show was.
I don't know what they thought it was. This is what I'm always interested in. What did you tell these people that they can't? Yeah. So he says, so LaShanti and I went to a PI, and of course they're like, what? you got LaShanti involved in this. So he says, LaShanti and I went to the PI, and the person that I was talking to is a cam girl model, but I don't know where the real person I'm talking to came from or where they are now. So maybe they're in Barbados. And I'm thinking of going back to Barbados. And they both go, for what? For what? And he says, I want to find the person behind the messages to find out why that person did that. Like, I was really close to that person. We had goals and aspirations together.
Oh my
And
gosh.
and she said she loved me. You had goals and aspirations. What?
What?
What? Mom says, you're going to take the last of your money to do that? Why is it so important? And then Mom says, I wish I knew who this person is because I'm ready to act up. And Sharpia says, I'm ready to act up bad. So
Can you
Mom
imagine
says,
like how frustrated we are with Tyray? Imagine how they feel. This
Yes.
is their brother and their son.
1 second. Yes? No, just don't worry about it. Okay, you look really cute.
Thanks. John, do you have any trash?
No, I don't. You look great. Okay. It's my daughter. She's getting ready to go out to a DJ set at a club.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Fancy young person.
She looks cute. Okay, so sorry. So they say, why would you do that? Why is it so important? And sister agrees. What would you even say if you met this person? He's like, I just need closure, and I feel like, I need to find out if the woman behind the messages and see if it is a woman behind the messages, because that person really loved me, and to find out if they
No.
loved me like I loved them. No, they didn't. They were using you for the few dollars they could get from you. So he thinks that if he goes to Barbados and meets the person behind the account, he's going to get the closure he needs.
I don't understand that this is his end game. I don't understand what his end game is.
I don't either.
I still
don't
think
either.
he thinks that it's a woman somewhere.
I do too.
Somewhere there's a woman that he can have sex with.
Or be in love with. And I mean, he could get there and find out it's like a 16-year-old dum-dum or an 85-year-old woman. Like,
Mm-hmm.
So then we get this talking head with Mom and Sharpia together, which was gold. And Mom goes, this is horrible that this happened to him because he is so sweet and he is so bubbly. And to see him down and to see him heartbroken, that's horrible for us. He's going to need time to heal. And the sister goes, and I have a lot of questions. Like, I have a lot of questions.
We all do.
But he won't give us a straight answer. And so he needs to not hold on to this hope because he seems to think this is real. I mean, she's like, I learned about this 6 minutes ago, and I can tell you the whole thing is not real. Where is LaShanti? Is LaShanti in the car? Go get her. What did that PI say? I mean,
Is Tyray like, what's wrong with him? Like, why is he not getting this? Is this just denial? This is just strong denial?
for him to be like, I'm beginning to think that Carmella in the pictures and the person sending me the messages is not the same person. We got that in the first 8 minutes of your scene.
Someone
4
had a
weeks
meme
ago.
that was like, Carmella could show up and say, I don't know who you are. I have not been talking to you. And he would say, I bet that's Carmella's twin sister who doesn't want us to be together.
Right.
Didn't I say it's like a soap? He's going to say,
Yeah.
like, there's an evil twin who has her in a coma, locked in a basement somewhere, so we can't be together.
Or it could remember the time when Marlena got possessed by the devil on Days of Our Lives. It could be like when Marlena got possessed by the devil
Uh-huh.
and was a demon, and that's why she doesn't remember.
Uh-huh.
She's been possessed by the devil.
Watching too many soaps.
Yes. All right, we have to end with our faves, Jasmine and Gino.
Favorite faves in what work?
Our faves. Yeah.
And I'm doing Gino and Jasmine. This is so much pressure. So
Well, okay. When I did my episode with Jake, we each chose couples, and I had to let Jake do Jasmine and Gino because he does such a great Jasmine and Gino.
yeah.
So then when I gave you, I was like, you do Jasmine and Gino. Let's see what you got. Let's see what you got.
Oh God. Back to my auditioning days.
Uh-huh.
So Gino is traveling to the Panama Canal with his fiance, Jasmine.
Excellent.
So they're going to the Panama Canal, and he's so excited because he's an engineer. And she seems more excited than he is. And I was like, oh, because she used to be a teacher. So she likes learning too, even though she lost her job because he sent naked pictures of her. Beyond the
Right.
point. But
Right.
they both like learning, except neither one has learned to get out of this relationship before they wind up on Dateline. So she's trying to tell him how symbolic it is that her country and his country have always had a love relationship that is symbolized by the engineering magic that is the Panama Canal.
Mhm.
And also another canal is her vaginal canal, which is tightened lately by the doctor. And it's soon
Kimberly.
going to be so tight it's going to be clogged by a large ship like the real Panama Canal was a couple of years ago.
Oh, Kimberly.
so
Kimberly.
Gino is very distracted, and I think he's overstimulated by all those people. He's just like he doesn't know where to look, and it's too much. But
I think he really wants to learn about the Panama Canal and how it is a really engineering feat, and it is really cool. I have been on a ship that went through the Panama Canal.
Wow.
We're on a cruise ship, and you went through and you sit in the locks, and then they lower the water. The whole ship lowers, and then it goes out. It's really cool. It is cool. And he's an engineer, and he's trying, and they've got cameras following them, and he wants to actually watch it, but he's not able to.
Like,
so yeah,
isn't this U.S. and Panama have always had this love connection? He's like, I want to learn. The tour guide's talking.
Yeah,
so
you're being rude to the lady with the holding up the flag.
Yeah, so they start arguing about how they don't have communication, and she knows about communication because she and her first husband were together for 8 years and struggled with communication. And has anyone ever seen that man alive? No, we have not. We don't know if that's him anytime they've shown. I don't know what child is hers, if that sister's her actual child. We don't know what's going on with that first guy.
We don't know anything.
In a ditch somewhere. So he says, well, I was with my ex-wife for 7 years and we never had any problems, which is the dumbest thing I think I've ever heard anyone.
Then why aren't you still together?
And
if your communication was so great.
He goes, you got divorced. So when Jasmine is the voice of reason, you know you're really grasping at straws. That if she
and that woman was a 90-day fiance as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
She got her green card and she was out of there.
Yep.
Yep.
So Jasmine says that was a really boring relationship. And he says, no, it wasn't boring, which to Jasmine is the equivalent of saying, I'm still in love with her.
Like, also, we were banging all the time. I did not need Viagra.
Uh-huh. That's what she's hearing. And she says, why did you bring up your ex? And he says, you brought up your ex. I just responded. And just like that, the crazy tables have turned. And now he's on top in this conversation. It's like one of them they both can't make sense at the same time. So it's like only one can make sense at a time. And right now it's his turn. Yes. And did you notice there's only one guy in the background, a tourist, that keeps looking over, but no one else is looking at this lady with the crazy red lips that look like those wax candy lips.
Yes, yes.
And she's raising her voice. No, people in Panama don't care. They don't look. They weren't looking at them in the park the other day. They do not care.
No, and last week, those people were, they were grinding in that park. And I was like, people in Panama are not curious.
No. Not. Or they've just seen so much. They're like, whatever.
Like, there she is again.
Yeah. They've seen Jasmine all over town with other men. And they're like, we know what she does. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he says, why can I not bring up my ex, but you can? That doesn't make any sense. And she says, well, because when you bring up your ex, I get mad. Okay. That's an interesting logic. And then she says, super dramatic, like telenovela style, is this how you repay me for bringing you to see the Panama Canal?
I bet he could have just driven over there by himself.
Exactly. You don't work right now. Again, because he got you fired, but you have plenty of time to sightsee. I guarantee you he paid for the taxi, and if there's an admissions fee, I know he paid for that too. So all you had to do was get dressed. That's all. And shellac your lips. I know that takes a while. So, and then we cut to him he's hungry from all the learning. And so he's trying to eat a granola bar. He cannot get the wrapper undone and he's struggling. And they keep zooming in on him struggling. It's so sad and pathetic. Little man trying to open his little granola bar. And it's like watching someone lose all of their masculinity, like right in front of you. And if that sort of awkward fumbling is anything like what happens in bed, I understand why she has to take the reins.
Well, like we said, she treats him like a toddler. She's always like, you're so adorable.
Let me open that for you. Yeah.
Let me open that for you. Let me put on your sunscreen for
Yeah.
you. So yeah.
But he can't do it himself.
Well,
He has
maybe
Butterfingers.
there's a reason for it. Yeah.
Yeah. So Gino is bothered by the fact that last night he learned from her friend that Dane, this gorgeous Dane fellow with the luxurious hair that doesn't need to be covered by a sleeping cap, is her ex and not just her friend. And so he tells her, you lied to me. And Jasmine takes a bite out of the granola bar, which is such a baller move, because you should be acting like, I'm so upset that I got caught in this lie and I will never eat again. I will never be hungry again. And instead she's like formulating her answer by pausing. She's like, I will stall by chewing, and then casually chewing like this is no big deal. Like, oh, I'm just eating a granola bar because I'm not in trouble. And she says, there's nothing going on. You're acting like I'm cheating on you. And he says, are you? And she starts laughing and says, you know I laugh when I get nervous, which is such an I feel like she stabbed someone and then started laughing. I stab people when I get nervous.
I see her stabbing somebody in the eye with a stiletto.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, that's what I see for her. A Killing
Didn't
Eve
Darcy
style. Yeah.
throw a stiletto at Jesse and almost maim him?
Yeah, he filed a lawsuit against her.
Oh my God. So she says, nothing is going on with Dane. We're just friends. And Gino says, you never let me talk to my exes. You flip out if I mention an ex. If I have the same paint color, he should have brought up the paint color. If the paint color in my house that she picked out is still on the walls, you flip out. And she says, well, I never sent my ex nudes of me. So that's a valid point. There is that. And you should have broke up with him when he did that.
But you stayed with him, so it's your fault.
Yeah. So let's victim shame her for that.
No, that's not what I meant. You know what I meant.
I know. So she should have broke it. That was the giant red flag. Leave.
Totally.
Why did you stay?
So disrespectful.
She says, she keeps defending herself, and she says, we just talk like once a week. Sometimes we hang out. And he lives in my building. There we go. That's the thing we've been waiting for. And he says, are you freaking kidding me, Jasmine? I would never have paid for this apartment if I knew that your ex was living there. And the fact that she's acting like this is no big deal is making it worse, which is true. She is acting like it's no big deal. And she says, listen, I'm not attracted to Dane at all, which is insane. We're all attracted to Dane.
Everyone's attracted. Dane is universally attractive to all.
Everyone.
Yes.
And she says, he says, did you have sex with him after you broke up? And she said, we did. We were friends with benefits because the sex was good. So you're saying you were not attracted to him, but the sex was good. So you kept having sex with him.
So why not? Yeah. Why not?
And she's just like digging a hole deep. She's digging a new Panama Canal. She's just digging that hole. And she says, but I haven't hooked up with him since we got together. And Gino asked the question that he does not want the answer to, which is, do you ever think about having sex with him? And she says, yes, which you don't have to admit to. He doesn't know what's going on inside your head.
No.
You could easily say no. Sometimes
you could have also said no. After we broke up, and we've just been friends ever since. I have no attraction to him. Nothing's ever happened.
Sometimes a lie is okay if the truth is going to hurt someone's feelings. But she's like, I think about having sex with him, but it's not because I'm in love with him. It's just you won't have sex with me. You reject me all the time, and you have unlocked new levels of insecurity in my life. And I do kind of feel bad for her when she talks like that. Like if she was another kind of person, we would be rooting for her. Because this is not right how he hurts her self-esteem all the time.
I agree with that.
But she is Jasmine, so you don't feel as bad.
Yeah, she hasn't even told him about the butt plugs yet. I mean,
no. Well, the friends brought it up.
But he wasn't interested to find out more.
No. Mm-mm. So she says, I don't fantasize about having sex with him, but I remember what it's like having sex with someone who wanted to have sex with me. Mm-hmm. That's what I miss. Which is very sad. And she says, if our sex life was better, I would fantasize about us. And that's a low blow. But she's not wrong. They need to break up. It's so bad. She says, or he says to us, her definition of cheating is speaking to an ex. So by that definition, she cheated on me. And
He's right.
This is bad. This is very bad. I don't
Yeah.
see how we're going to get married when there's no trust.
No, that K1 visa is coming through, and he is not going to tell her. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he could just not tell her.
Yeah, he could be like, "Mom, it never showed up.
Go
How is she
back
going
to
to know?"
the community room with Uncle Marco and eat pasta.
That's right. That's right. So next time on 90 Day Before the 90 Days, Statler and Dempsey get to Dempsey's apartment, and she like doesn't have plumbing. She
I
has
think it's
toilets,
like a farm.
Yeah.
It's like a farm where there's this is I have IBS. This is bad. This is a nightmare.
She was like, "Yeah, I haven't gotten around to getting the toilets plumbed, so like you
Where
got to
does
go in the
she go?
outhouse or whatever." I don't know.
Oh,
Guess they
God.
go in or they go to the. This is like a house that she lives in off the main house. Do they have to go to the main house to use the bathroom? I don't know.
Do they dig a hole?
I don't know. Statler's like, "This will not work.
No.
I am a city girl. This will not work for me." Rasman tells Amanda they just need to
Remember Rasman and Amanda?
Remember them? They've been off there for 3 weeks.
I think I said his name wrong. Is it Rasman or Rasvin? Rasvin.
Is it Razvan?
Rasvin. I think
Rasvin.
It's been so long. So I think TLC realized that this was very bad, toxic.
Yeah.
And she's grieving and it's icky and they pulled them.
It's DJ Razzie Raz. So he tells Amanda, we just need to do it. Do it. We need to do it. And then she goes, I'm having my period. And he says, that's okay. Even on your period, a real man have his sword with blood.
Oh my God.
They laughed, but I was like, ew. Ew.
Wow. It's just a lot. Good for them. No shame.
Yeah,
Ew.
sure. Do what
I
you
still
do.
do. That's still.
Also,
this
she's
is
not
how
having
you
her
bring
period.
them back. You don't have them on for like 10 weeks, and then you bring them back, and it's all to talk about her period.
Yeah, she's not having her period. She just doesn't want to have
She's
sex with
lying.
him.
Yeah.
Nicola introduces Meisha to his brothers and to his brother and like a friend. I think that's the fishing friend. And there's a girl there. And
Was that the fishing friend?
It looks like the fishing friend and then like a brother and a girl.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like making fun of her. Go, oh, Meisha, she's so messy. The room is a mess. I've never seen such a thing with Meisha. And she's like embarrassed. He's embarrassing her. And she says, I wish he would be excited about us as a couple, but he just embarrassed me instead. So yes, because he's 100 years old, has never even held a girl's hand. So he does not know how to act.
Yeah, and somehow doesn't realize how lucky he is to be with this professional, successful, smart, ambitious, gorgeous lady who should be in the Miss Catholic American beauty pageant.
This is Catholic America. Sheila takes David to her home, and he is overwhelmed with how she lives. He's never seen anything like it. It's abject poverty. It's a house that went through a monsoon and then a fire.
Mm.
And he's stunned by how upsetting it is. So
someone posted a picture of him online, and he looks great. And they were like, "Look at what a shower can do."
Bless him. Just take a little rinse.
Take a shower.
Take a shower, dude. Gino and Jasmine go to a therapist, and she says, we only have a week and a half left before he leaves, so we really need to work things out. And then she tells...
I think it's too late for a therapy. I'm such a proponent of therapy, but I think it's way too late for therapy.
It's a year too late for these two. She tells the therapist that she's not sexually satisfied. And he goes, I don't know what she's talking about. I don't reject her. And she says...
We've seen it.
And she says, Gino, you've made mean comments about my private parts. Like, I do feel rejected.
My God.
And then he
What
says...
the F, Gino?
He says, see, when she makes comments like this is where I have no desire for her. And
they're going to kill each other. I think this is Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf. This is like watching this most awkward, scary couple. It's like watching the dinner party episode of The Office. You just want to die. Cringe.
The therapist says, do you want this to work, Gino?
I don't think he does.
Great question.
I don't think he does. I think he's building up roadblocks.
I think he's trying to do that. It's not you, it's me thing.
Yeah.
Violet continues to talk to Riley's sister, Tiffany, on the phone. And when she answers the question about whatever she answers, Tiffany goes, your answer is not Violet. Your answer is not valid. And Violet says, we have a big problem here. We have a big problem here. And she starts to walk up and says, I can't talk to you. I can't talk to you. And he says, okay, beat it. Bye. Because this is both of their go-to thing is bye, bye,
Yeah.
I'm leaving, bye.
Yeah, scram.
Scram, get out of here, beat it.
Yeah.
It's wild.
It's so, they need a mediator or something. They just shouldn't be together. But they like need a translator and a mediator to discuss these issues.
They're both hot-headed. They're both
Yeah.
hot-headed. Yeah. I didn't like you said, I didn't like Tiffany asking these questions. But then again, you know, he did have to answer similar questions. But at the dinner table on the FaceTime, like, this is not the way to do it.
Mm-mm.
That's it. That's where we leave it. And that's the end of Before the 90 Days, Fatal Attraction, Season 6, Episode 7.
And it basically any of these couples could wind up boiling a bunny.
Yeah, let's see. Fatal Attraction. Statler and Dempsey, no. Cleo and Christian, no. Meisha and Nicola, no. Riley and Violet, maybe. Tyray, no. It's really just Jasmine and Gino.
Yeah,
with
it's
the
really
Fatal
just
Attraction.
Jasmine and Gino. You're right.
Yeah. Only one person is attracted in that bunch.
Yeah. She does have like the crazy curly hair too, from the humidity.
Yes.
The Glenn Close hair. Yeah.
Oh, I'm trying to think of how we can put that together. I won't
Except
be
we
ignored,
would all be
Gino.
rooting. It wouldn't be ignored, but we would all be rooting for her. Like
Yeah.
she wouldn't be the villain in the movie.
Yeah, that's true. That's
We'd
true.
be like, do it.
Oh, guys, we are covering so much. So we've got Match Me Abroad is on Mondays, and then starting next week, we're going to be adding Life After Lockup to that. There'll be 2 episodes on Monday because they're going to overlap by 3 episodes, which is not great for my voice. I'm going to be doing that on Mondays. We're continuing here with 90 Day Before the 90 Days. I'm going to pick up 90 Day UK with Katie. That's going to be, I think, on Wednesdays on the $10 level of Pink Shade Prime. Then on this Thursday, I have the bad boy of podcasting, Ryan Bailey. It's coming on. It's coming on. He's going to tell us about attending the Real Housewives of New York premiere party in New York.
Oh,
he's going to tell us all about that. Then Amy and I are covering Temptation Island as well as the new 90 Day The Other Way. And whenever I say Temptation Island, I have to do this. Hold on. You're not gonna tell me. You'll never forget me. Okay. Best theme song ever.
That's a baller.
Sung by Ali Lohan.
That's not the right word.
Yeah.
It's not a baller.
It's a bop.
It's a bop.
It's a bop.
It's a bop.
It's a bop. Yeah. And I don't want to brag, but I have been in touch with Mark L. Wahlberg, the host of Temptation Island.
Amazing. The best Mark Wahlberg.
The best of the Mark Wahlbergs. And he's going to come on the podcast to talk to Amy and I.
That's so exciting.
Because we're dying to know where does he get all his wonderful advice.
Amazing.
He's so full of wonderful advice.
It's like he has the best stories.
Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine what he's seen.
Yeah.
Like what is that house?
Those eyeballs have seen.
What do those houses smell like, Mark? They smell like despair and tequila. That's what they smell like. Oh my God. Yep. So lots of fun stuff coming up. And for those of you who are wondering what happened this last week with my chat with Sarah Colonna on our Barely Bravo breakdown on Thursdays, Sarah Colonna's Verizon went out in her neighborhood right before we were supposed to record.
Oh no.
So we could not record, but she's going to come on in 2 weeks. So look forward to that. And that's all. Kimberly, you got anything you want to shill over there on A Date with Dateline?
Nah, I got nothing.
All right. Well, you guys know A Date with Dateline is a fantastic podcast and fantastic Patreon. And you guys are still looking at what to do with A Date with K&K over there on the YouTube?
Yeah, we're just being very lazy this summer. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's fine. You deserve it. You got to get ready for CrimeCon.
Yeah.
That's in September or August?
September.
Woo!
I'm already preparing flat ironing my hair.
Now? You're going to start now?
Yeah, I got to start now. Got to train it.
That's so funny. Okay, well, I will talk to you later. And on that note, guys, we'll see you. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram @PinkShadePod and @DateDateline. Okay, bye.
Thank you for having me.